Yeah, and you spoke about martial arts. You've tried a few different sports, but how did you get into martial arts and fighting?
Yeah, so I did it. My parents put me in it when I was 6. I got my black belt in Taekwondo when I was 13, almost 14. I hated it like really bad. I always wanted to quit, but my parents were like, "Get your black belt for your college resume. Get your black belt for your college resume." So they made me do it, and then I stopped doing it until I was I think 21. So I've been lifting for 3 years, and I was like, I need to get back into kickboxing because why am I building all this muscle if I can't defend myself? I just thought of that as that kind of like step, the next step. Build muscle, then build like my fighting skills. And with lifting weights, you build your first level of confidence. You build like charisma you never thought you had. You build all, these social skills you never thought you had, the confidence. And once you have that, when you do MMA, you kind of get that next level, that next step again. So I think that in terms of like I guess fitness for self improvement, it starts with weightlifting, building muscle, and then MMA. And then once I got into MMA, my brother started watching UFC to like get good, and now it's my favorite sport. I watch it a lot, and I mean, I guess things happen for a reason. Now, my channel is almost like a mix of like fitness and MMA, and I kind of like it that way. No one's done that before, and I think that those two together, synchronized together, is how you really build a good life centered around fitness.
Yeah, I think MMA and fighting, especially, just like it teaches you so many lessons that other sports don't teach you because you're literally just in a cage, it's 1v1. You can only rely on yourself. Like in a team sport, you can sort of just like sometimes hide away, whereas here it's just like it's you versus this guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I train in person still. And one of my clients was telling me that like, my I play golf and you learn a lot about patience. I'm like, that's not how you learn patience. You learn patience when you go crazy at someone and they hit you with a check hook. That's how you learn patience. It's like MMA teaches you skill like life lessons that you just like because getting hit in the face, you got to learn something pretty fast. So yeah, and then I think that I also like MMA in terms of like a fitness perspective because I think it's the sport with the biggest like range of athletic abilities because you need to be quick, you need to have power, you need to have cardio, you need all this stuff. So someone always asks me, why do you act like fighting is the only sport for like athleticism? I'm like, because it encompasses everything.
I think that's the reason why it's so popular as well. Like there's always when you see fights, whether it's boxing, whether it's UFC, it's always sold out and there's loads of people watching because it's so primal. Like there's so much going on. Like people
Yeah.
are interested in that. It's not like some other sports like golf where it's kind of boring to watch. Like this is just like maximum entertainment and action.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, like a lot of my clients, which I teach mostly girls in real life, which is just how it ends up working. It's just like guys don't really like training in real life, but like they wonder why we watch the UFC, watch MMA. They think it's barbaric. But I'm like, it's also I like how it applies to real life. It's a life skill, but yeah, I mean, like it's just the amount of excitement from an MMA fight for me. It's not comparable to anything else.
Yeah, because I've been watching a lot of more UFC over the last few years than before that, and it's just so entertaining, even compared to team sports, which most people like. It's yeah, you can't match it.
Yeah, I had never felt like an excitement from something happening than when Leon Edwards knocked out Usman, and that's like I would say like the effect of MMA and like how it makes you feel. And I just didn't think I was a big soccer fan at one point or a football fan. I was a big basketball fan, but that Leon Edwards head kick made me feel a certain way I'd never felt before. And fun fact, it wasn't because I liked Leon Edwards because I hated Kamaru Usman, but yeah, I never felt that way from a sport before. So I think that MMA and the UFC is just a different kind of sport that it's just not comparable with anything else.
I also think the way they've marketed the UFC has been just completely next level. Like any sport should be taking notes on how Dana and the UFC have done to promote each event.
Yeah, I mean they're marketing it's a marketing machine. Like I'll use an example like, Sean O'Malley, Israel Adesanya, Kamaru Usman, those are fighters that in my opinion are not like they don't have the charisma like a McGregor does. But the UFC are like, "Hey, these are our stars and you're going to like them." And just throw them in people's faces and now they're stars all of a sudden because their marketing machine is just crazy. And the fighters that people should be liking, they don't market so much. Like Colby Covington is a fighter that people should be liking. Leon Edwards is another one. Those are the people that people should be liking. But yeah, the UFC marketing machine is crazy, and they made almost $400 million in profit this year. It's just like a crazy system they have.
And it's quite interesting because you see in most sports, there's these like world federations or these national federations, whereas the UFC is just a private business. So it does allow certain biases, but also advantages in that they're more lean in their organization structure.
Right, and then they're not even politically correct. Like you can like cuss during interviews and things like that, which I think is also kind of gives the UFC a diversity that none of these other things can have. They don't throw politics in your face like the MLB and all these things do. It's just like fighting, say what you want to say, and we're gonna market that, which is what I like about the UFC. And it's just about fighting. It's not about anything else.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing where in sport you see a lot more politics starting to come into it. And then you look at the UFC, which is why I think a lot more people have been starting to watch it over the last few years. It's just like, this is just raw sport. Like you're paying for sport, not
Yeah,
all this other
absolutely.
packages that come with it.
Yeah, because like I'd be watching like ESPN and they start talking about politics. I'm like, I want to like why are we talking about sports? It's not a political channel. I just never like that, and I like how the UFC doesn't include that. And if they do, the fighters are just bringing up the politics by their own choice, which is just like free speech, do what you want, which is fine for me, and not it's not being thrown in your face like what ESPN's a big one, and like you were saying, like these other sporting organizations do that to you.